Hello everyone, welcome to the Daily Current Affairs Analysis brought to you by Shankar IAS Academy, 5th July 2025. Displayed here are the list of topics that we will be discussing today. So without much delay, let's begin our discussion with the first article. The prospect of energy exploration at Andaman. The article is taken from The Hindu. So recently in an interview, the Union Petroleum Minister Hardeep Singh Puri said that India soon will discover a Guyana-like oil base in Andaman and it will boost the Indian economy. That means currently we are aiming for 5 trillion economy. So through this exploration, we can even become a 20 trillion economy, according to Hardeep Singh Puri, the Union Petroleum Minister. And it will also help us to reduce the dependence on oil import, and it will also boost India's energy security. So let us discuss more about this Andaman Sea exploration, the energy exploration from the prelims point of view. First, we will know about the Andaman Basin. So this exploration is happening in Andaman Basin. So it covers nearly 2.2 lakh square kilometer in the southeastern Bay of Bengal. And it is close to oil-rich regions like North Sumatra Basin and Mergui Irrawaddy Basin, which belongs to Myanmar. So look at this map here. You can see the Andaman Nicobar Basin. Currently, the exploration is going on, and which is located near to Mergui Basin, which is in Myanmar, and the North Sumatra Basin. These regions are very rich in natural gas and oil. And coming to the other details related to the Andaman Basin, it is recently identified as a last untrilled frontier. Identified as a last untrilled frontier with a high potential of energy, and before that it was considered as a no-go zone because there was a lot of restriction considering the ecosystem and the diversity of Andaman. But now it is open for the exploration of energy. And here you can see the map. So like I mentioned, Andaman Nicobar Basin is here, and it is located near to the Mergui Irrawaddy Basin, which belongs to Myanmar, and the North Sumatra Basin, which belongs to the Indonesia. Both are rich in oil and natural gases. So coming to the approach. So what are the approaches? Like I mentioned earlier, this Andaman Basin was considered as a no-go zone. There was a lot of restriction considering the diversity and the uniqueness of Andaman. But now the government is slowly changing the approach, and now we even started the oil exploration in Andaman Basin. So what are the changes that we brought in our approach? First is the introduction of hydrocarbon exploration and licensing policy in 2016. So this brought a lot of changes. For example, this policy shifted the style that is the style from the PSC, that is production sharing contract, to revenue sharing contract. So what is mean by production sharing contract and revenue sharing contracts? Both are part of public-private partnership. So we can see that once we identify that this region is rich in resources, then we will call the companies, right? As per the present system, we will call the companies. So before that is before 2016, we used the method that is production sharing contract. So as per this contract, the government will allow a company. For example, there's a company called M. The government will allow this company to conduct the exploration in a particular region. For example, in the case of Andaman, the government will allow this company M to conduct exploration in Andaman. So the company will make investment, and they will study the region, and they will eventually generate the revenue from this region. So what happens if the company is generating ₹100, then the company will take the recovery cost. That means the investment they made in the exploration. For example, if the investor ₹60, then first from this ₹100, the company will take the ₹60 as recovery cost, and the remaining ₹40 will be shared between the company and the government as profit. This was the style we followed as under the production sharing contract. But now under the HELP policy, we shifted the focus from production sharing contract to revenue sharing contract. So what is mean by revenue sharing contract? So as per the revenue sharing contract, the company and the government will first enter into an agreement, and the government will say that whatever revenue you are generating, we need this much percentage from your revenue. For example, the government is saying that we need 30% from your revenue. Under this condition, the company is mandated to give the 30% from the revenue, whatever revenue they have generated. For example, the company could generate only ₹90. Then from this ₹90 also the company is mandated to give the 30% to the government. For example, the company generated ₹110. Then from this ₹110 also the company is mandated to give 30%. So what was the benefit is that the revenue sharing contract will ensure more certainty, more clarity, and transparency comparing with the production production sharing contract. And we also introduced a single licensing system for providing access to the companies for all type of hydrocarbon exploration. And the next is open acreage licensing policy. So this was also introduced under the HELP. So as per this new policy, the companies can they are free to choose any block for the exploration as per their data, as per the data taken from the national data repository. So what happens is that once an area is selected for exploration, then the government will divide the area into different grid. Okay, they will divide the area into different grid, and each block will be given for different companies, or they will give for different corporations through bidding process. And before the as per the previous system, the government will identify the region, and the government will say that okay, we are conducting exploration in these two blocks, and the remaining regions are allowed for exploration for the companies. But as per the new system, the government will announce, but the companies are free to choose any block. If the blocks are not awarded to any other company, then the companies are free to choose any block for the exploration, and this will enhance more players in energy exploration. For example, recently the ONGC, that is Oil and Natural Energy Corporation of India, ONGC, that is Oil and Natural Gas Corporation of India, they partnered with the Total Energies, a France-based company, to conduct exploration in Mahanadi and Andaman block. So this will boost the public-private partnership. So the shift from production sharing contract to revenue sharing model, and the new open acreage licensing policy will boost the public-private partnership. And what are the progress so far in the Andaman Basin? First, nearly 144 blocks are awarded under the open acreage licensing policy, and we nearly attracted dollar 3.3 billion through this bidding. And in the ninth round of the bidding, we offered nearly 28 blocks, and in the 10th round, nearly 25 blocks are going to be awarded. And we can see that the Indian Oil and the ONGC, that is Oil and Natural Gas Corporation, they received 2 blocks each in Andaman Basin. So what are the challenges associated with the oil exploration or the energy exploration in Andaman Basin? First is offshore drilling is more expensive and time consuming, and the next is the success depends the project. So now the Union Petroleum Minister is saying that we can even achieve 20 trillion economy through this project, but that depends on the price of the oil in the upcoming time. For example, currently the exploration is going on, so when everything gets ready, it will be at least 10 years, and we are not sure what will be the price of the oil in the another 10 years. The policies of the nations may change, or maybe due to any geopolitical shift, the price of the oils may increase or may decrease. So we are not sure what will be the price of oil in the upcoming time. And the next is price crash can delay production and investment. This is also another problem. And why it matters for India? Because India imports 90.6% of its crude oil. So currently we are depending on oil import for energy. And the next is Andaman discoveries can boost energy security, reduce import of the oil, and support economic growth. So if the things are going right, then at least we can achieve a very good result from this Andaman Basin oil exploration. At the same time, on other side, the concerns are there, because the Andaman is very ecologically it is a highly sensitive zone. Therefore, we need to consider the indigenous diversity and the ecology of the Andaman before going for further exploration in the Andaman Basin. So these are that's all with this article. Let's move to the prelims practice question. The question is, consider the following statements about oil exploration in Andaman Basin. Statement 1, the Andaman Basin is one of the most explored regions in India. No, it is one of the least explored regions in India. And the next is, the open acreage licensing policy allows companies to bid for blocks chosen by the government only. No, as per the new open acreage licensing policy, the companies are free to choose any block based on the data from the national repository. So therefore, the statement 2 is also incorrect. And coming to the statement 3, the Andaman Basin is located in the southeastern Bay of Bengal. Yes, Andaman Basin is located in the southeastern Bay of Bengal. We already saw the map, and it is near to the Sumatra Basin and Irrawaddy Basin, which are rich in oil and natural gas. And the statement 4, India currently imports over 90% of its crude oil. Yes, 90.6% of the crude oil, percentage of the crude oil is currently imported from various nations, and therefore the statement 4 is also Correct. So if you eliminate the statement 1 and statement 2, we can easily come to the answer, that is option C, 3 and 4 only. Let's check. Yes, it is 3 and 4 only. With this, we will move to the next article. India-Australia launch joint research project on undersea surveillance. The article is taken from The Hindu. So recently, India and Australia launched a 3-year joint project on undersea surveillance. The agencies involved in the project are the Navy Physical and Oceanographic Laboratory from India, and from Australia, DSTG. It's a branch of Information Science Division of the Australian government, and the focus is dictating the some underwater threat using the towed array target motion analysis. So let us discuss more about this article. So coming to the project overview, the duration is 3 years, and it aims to improve the efficiency, reliability, and interoperability of surveillance system, and it will also enhance the early detection and tracking of undersea threats. And coming to the technology used for the detection is the towed array target motion analysis. So here you can see that these are the hydrophone cables under the water, and this hydrophone cables will capture the acoustic signals coming from any machines or through any communication, and later it will inform the authority. So simply, these are not towed array system is nothing but long hydrophone cables under the sea that detects the acoustic signals, and later it will inform the authorities. And what is the significance of this collaboration? First, it will boost the maritime domain awareness in the Indo-Pacific region, and the next is it will counter the autonomous undersea threat and silent submarines. And next, it will deepen the India-Australia defense cooperation, especially in the post Operation Sindoor time. You can see that the Operation Sindoor, India got praised by many nations. At the same time, India was also criticized by many nations, and you can see that recently the United States administration, they are trying to revive their ties with the Pakistan. So this time we need to diversify our option, especially in the Indo-Pacific region, and Australia is one of our best options that we have. So coming to the prelims practice question, the question is, what is the primary function of towed array system used in undersea surveillance? Option A, emits sonar pulse to destroy underwater mines. Option B, tows explosive charges for anti-submarine warfare. Option C, uses hydrophones to passively detect underwater acoustic signals, and option D, monitors seismic activity below ocean floor. See, from the description itself, we can see the correct answer is option C, uses hydrophones to passively detect the underwater threat. So with this, we will move to the next article. LG is interfering in functioning of JK's information department. Dealing business rules, says NC's Tanveer Sadiq. The article is taken from The Hindu. So last year, we witnessed the conflict between the office of governor and the state governments in the state of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. And another conflict is burning in the union territory of Jammu and Kashmir these days. So let us discuss more about the article. So what is the actual issue happening in Jammu and Kashmir? First is the delay in the approval of appointment of the Advocate General for the Jammu and Kashmir, and the next is the interference of the Raj Bhavan in the information department of the state, and the next is the non-clearance for the cabinet approved rules, business rules, which is essential for the smooth governance of Jammu and Kashmir. So you can see that, and according to the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act of 2019, it is mandatory to prepare a business rule to demarcate the separation of power between the lieutenant governor and the elected government to ensure smooth functioning of the governance. But you can see that now the office of the lieutenant governor has not gave approval for the business rules which is passed by the cabinet of the Jammu and Kashmir. And what was the response from the Lieutenant Governor's office? And he stated that he only controls the police and does not interfere with the governance matter. So, what will be the major or general causes of friction between the office of elected government, office of Raj Bhavan and the elected government? So, you can see that last year the Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and before that Punjab, they all witnessed a conflict between a friction between the governor's office and the elected government, and now the Jammu and Kashmir is also going through this. And another major example is the union territory of Delhi. And first major reason is the ambiguity in the division of powers. So we can see that unlike the governors of the state, the lieutenant governors in the Jammu and Kashmir and Delhi has special powers. For example, they control the land, law and order, and the police. And the next is the lack of clarity in the business rules. For example, the delayed approval or interpretation can, regarding the business rules can stall the governance. For example, in the case of Kashmir, you can see that the cabinet approved the business rules, but the Raj Bhavan has not approved the business rules. And you can see that according to the reorganization, the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act of 2019, it is mandatory to prepare a business rule to ensure smooth functioning of the governance through ensuring a clear separation of power. And the next major cause is the political differences between the office of governor and the elected state government. So you can see that this has become a major cause of conflict in the states of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. So the next issue is the interference in the day-to-day administration. If there is no clear demarcation of power, then it will lead to interference of day-to-day administration. For example, in the case of Jammu and Kashmir, the National Conference accused the office of Raj Bhavan for interfering into the state information departments. So this type of actions will lead to mistrust between the office of governor and the elected governments. And the next issue is the appointment. For example, you can see that in the state of Tamil Nadu, the Tamil Nadu state government, they passed in nearly 10 bills, and the governor he delayed all these 10 bills, and only 3 bills got assent from the governor's office, and this was the one of the primary reasons for the case, that is the state of Tamil Nadu versus the governor of Tamil Nadu 2024. This case is very important, the state of Tamil Nadu versus the governor of Tamil Nadu 2024, and in this case the Supreme Court emphasized the importance of Article 200 in the Indian Constitution. Okay, and here also in the case of Jammu Kashmir, you can see that there is a delay in the appointment of Advocate General of the Jammu and Kashmir. So we can see that the Advocate General is very important to represent the nation, represent the state in the legal matters. But in the case of Jammu Kashmir, the appointment is delayed. And what can be done? So first is the finalization of business rules. So according to the Reorganization Act of 2019, Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act of 2019, it is mandated to pass the business rules to define and demarcate the roles of the office of Lieutenant Governor and the elected government. And the next is strengthening the cooperative federalism through mutual respect and dialogue between the constitutional authorities. And the third is judicial interpretations. We can emphasize certain cases like the Delhi versus the Union of India 2023. In this case, the Supreme Court said that the office of Lieutenant Governor can control the certain portfolios like the land, law and order, and police, but other things will be handled by the elected government. And in the case of the Tamil Nadu also, the Supreme Court emphasized the Article 200, the importance of Article 200. As per this, the Supreme Court indirectly said that the governor is bound by the advice of the Council of Ministers. Therefore, we can use this type of judicial interpretations to deal with the problems arising between the office of governor and the state. And the next is amendments for greater clarity. For example, amending the reorganization, the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act of 2019, if there is any necessity to remove overlapping and gray areas. And the next is independent mechanism for dispute resolution. That means appointing a forum or a commission to resolve the center state administrative disputes. So coming to the prelims practice question, the question is, which of the following statements regarding the governance structure of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir is correct, is or are correct? Statement 1, the Lieutenant Governor has exclusive control over police, law and order matters in the Jammu and Kashmir. Yes, this statement is correct. And statement 2, the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act of 2019 mandates the preparation of business rules to define the functioning of the Lieutenant Governor, CM and the Council of Ministers. This is also correct. The Advocate General of Jammu and Kashmir is appointed by the President of India. No, it is appointed by the Office of Lieutenant Governor, and the appointment is delaying, and that is also one of the reasons for the tussle between the Office of Lieutenant Governor and the elected government. So the statement 3 is incorrect, while the statement 1 and 2 is correct. Therefore, the correct answer is option A, 1 and 2 only. Let's check. Yes, the correct answer is option A, 1 and 2 only. With this, we will move to the next article. Surface to air missiles, armed recovery vehicle. Ministry of Defence clears rupees 1 lakh crore purchases. The article is taken from Indian Express. So what is this news? The Defence Acquisition Council, chaired by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, approved the acceptance of necessity for 10 indigenous capital acquisition proposals under the category Indian-IDDM. What is Indian-IDDM? Indian indigenously designed, developed and manufactured category. So under this category, the equipment, that means 50% of the equipment should be manufactured in India. So we are going for an indigenous purchase. That means we are not approving any equipment from outside India. So what is meant by this acceptance of necessity? First of all, acceptance of necessity is a principle. So as per this acceptance of necessity, the government is accepting that this particular equipment is needed for the security of the nation. So this is a first step towards purchasing a defense equipment. In another sense, simply we can see that it is a green signal. So what are the major purchases approved under the acceptance of necessity? First is the surface to air missile system. So recently we saw that, followed by the Operation Sindoor, we saw the success of Agash missile system and the S-400. So now India is boosting the air defense system. The next is armed recovery vehicles, which is very important for long-standing war, and it is very important for enhancing mobility, repair, speedy repair and recovery. And you can see that the next approval is for the electronic warfare system and counter electronic warfare system, which is very important to jam the communication and radar of the enemy during the time of combat, and it is very crucial for enhancing the superiority of drone and aircraft in the air battle. And the next is integrated common inventory management system, which is very important to track, allocate and optimize the weapon inventory in India, and it is jointly managed by the Army, Navy and Air Force. And the next is for naval enhancements. So the approval of necessity has approved the procurement of moored mines. So we can see that these mines will float in the deep sea, and it is very important for safeguarding our marine territory. And the next is mine countermeasure vehicle, and the next is super rapid gun mounts and submersible autonomous vehicles are very important to ensure the maritime safety of India, and these are approved under the acceptance of necessity by the Defence Acquisition Council. And coming to the Defence Acquisition Council, the body, it is an apex body for the capital defence purchase, and it is established in the year 2001, and it is chaired by the Defence Minister of the government. And like I mentioned, it approves the approval of necessity, which is the first formal step towards the purchasing of any defense equipment. And coming to the category, that is Indian-IDDM category. So now the indigenous procurement is under this category. So we can see that what is the full form of Indian-IDDM category? I already mentioned, that is Indian indigenously designed, developed and manufactured category. Okay, so under this category, at least 50% of the equipment should be manufactured in India. And it is also very important to boost our domestic defense manufacturing, which is very important to reduce our dependence on defense import. And coming to the prelims practice question. So the question is, consider the following statements regarding recent defense procurement and policy. Statement 1, the common inventory management for the tri-services is aimed at cost efficiency by allowing real-time sharing of resources among the services. So we can see that the inventory management system will be managed by the Army, Navy and Air Force. And the next statement, the BI, that is Indian-IDDM category, mandates that at least 30% of the components must be indigenous origin. So like I mentioned, it is not 30%, it is 50%. Therefore, the statement 2 is incorrect, while the statement 1 is correct. So the correct answer is option A, 1 only. So with this, we will move to the next article. Yes, the correct answer is option A. Punjab's land pooling policy and its criticism. The article is taken from Indian Express. We know that because of the urbanization, the cities are expanding, the slums are expanding. But the problem is the unplanned nature of the city. This unplanned nature of the city often acts as a cause for various socio-economic problems. And considering this, the Punjab government brought a model for a planned urban development, that is the Land Pooling Policy 2025. So let us discuss more about this news article. So why it is in the news? Because the Punjab government brought a participatory model for planned urban development, that is the Land Pooling Policy 2025, and it is currently applicable for nearly 27 urban areas in the state of Punjab, including major cities like Ludhiana, Mohali and Amritsar. The objective of the government is to achieve pooling of nearly 40,000 hectares of land and generating a revenue between 20,000 to 25,000 crore, and support the social development through providing welfare schemes to women and other communities, including cash benefits. And what is this policy? What is this Land Pooling Policy 2025? It is a participatory mode urban development strategy. So simply I can explain that the people who has land, they will give the land to the government, and the government will develop this land. They will provide infrastructure, they will ensure the connectivity. After developing the land, the government will give the land back to the people. For example, if a person is giving 1 acres of land, then he will receive, after developing that region, he will receive 1,000 square yard for residential purpose and 200 yard for commercial purpose. So nothing. The people will give the land. The government will develop the land through infrastructure, through providing proper infrastructure, and after development, the government will provide a portion of the land to the people for residential and commercial purpose with various facilities. So this is simply what is mean by the land pooling policy 2025. And the landowners voluntarily pool agriculture land. The problem is the agriculture land. So we know that the food security is important. For that, we need agriculture land. And the Punjab and the states like Punjab and Haryana, they are known for the production of wheat, right? And therefore, the issue is the voluntary pooling of the agricultural land for urban purpose. And the government will develop the land through providing proper infrastructure, and a part of the developed land will be provided back to the back to the people. Like I mentioned, if you are giving 1 acres of land, then you will receive 1000 square yard for residential purpose and 200 yard for commercial purpose. And what are the objectives of this land pooling policy? First is to avoid the forced acquisition. That means this is a participatory model for urban development. The landowners are voluntarily giving the land. In return, they will receive a part of developed land. And the next is share urbanization gains with the landowners. Like I mentioned, a portion of the land will be given back to the landowners with more facilities. And the next is the facilitated planned growth. So we can see that the government, where they will provide other facilities like drinking water facility, electricity, connectivity, and in return, the people will receive a portion of the developed land. And the next is prevent land speculation. And the next is empowering the landowners and the development partners. We can see that the government also, through achieving a revenue, through generating revenue, the government is planning to provide various social benefit schemes for women and other communities living in the Punjab. And how it is working, like I mentioned, first is the land contribution, next is the redistribution, and the cost for the development is provided by the government. And the next is compensation. That means a developed part of the land will be provided for residential and commercial purpose. What are the major infrastructure provided in the developed land? That includes connectivity, drainage system for proper sanitation, electricity, and water facility. So simply, the people will give the land, the government will develop the land, and after developing the land with the infrastructure, the government, a portion of the land will be given back to the people for their purpose. So coming to the prelims practice question, the question is, in the land pooling mechanism, landowners are primarily compensated by option A, cash payment under the Land Acquisition Act, option B, developed land plots after infrastructure development, option C, annual crop insurance and annuity, and option D, long-term rental agreements by municipal bodies. So the correct answer is option B, developed land plot with the infrastructure. So if a person is giving 1 acre, then he will receive 1000 square yard for residential and 200 yard for commercial purpose. Therefore, a developed portion of the land will be given back to the landowners. So let's check the answer. Yes, the correct answer is option B. With this, we will move to the next topic. A new Bharat establishing baseline health parameters for Indian population. The article is taken from The Hindu. So recently, the Indian Institute for Science, which is located in Bangalore, launched a study under the program in Longevity India program. The name of the study is BHARAT. So the full form is Biomarkers for Healthy Aging, Resilience, Adversity, and Transition. The objective of the study is to identify India-specific biomarkers for healthy aging, disease risk, and resilience. So we can say that if you take two people, the health condition of these two people will be very different. Okay, before that, what is meant by biomarkers? Biomarkers are the biological clues that we have to understand or to assess a person's health. Now we will come back to the example. So if you take two people at the both are imagine that both are at the age of 60, but the health of these two people will be very different. Okay, the one person may be suffering from any heart disease or liver disease or many any lifestyle conditions, but on the other side, the another person will be running for a marathon. So we can see that the chronological age of a person is different from his biological age. Therefore, it is very important to reform our health policy, our approach towards the public health, to make the health system as well as the policies more inclusive. And it is not just containing between two people. If you take two community, the health of these two community will be very different because it is shaped by different environment, it is shaped by different lifestyle. For example, if you take the Zulu community in South Africa, they may be facing the problem of lactose intolerance. because traditionally this community is not consuming any dairy products. And if you go for a broader view, you can see that if you compare the eastern population with the western population, you can see that certain infections, certain health conditions, for example, certain intestine based health conditions are very high in the western population. Certain cancer rates, for example, the intestine cancer rates are very high in the western population comparing with the Asian population. But on the other side, if you go to the far eastern side, for example, Korean population, if you take the Korean population, Chinese population, or Japanese population, you can see that the people above the age of 90, maybe they may be pedaling a bicycle on the road. So the health condition, the health of the different population is different in all aspects because it is shaped by different environment, it is shaped by different lifestyle, and it is shaped by different occupation, everything. So here comes the importance of the Bharat study. So through the Bharat study, we are planning to build our own biomarkers to identify the health condition of Indian population. So what is Bharat initiative? So it is a study done by the IISC, that is Indian Institute for Science, which is located in Bangalore. It will map the physiological, molecular, genomic, proteomic, metabolic, and environmental indicators that are affecting the health. The objective is to build a Bharat baseline for Indian aging population, and this is done with the help of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Why this study is important? The life expectancy rising, but on the other side you can see that the age related diseases are also increasing. For example, if a person is living for 70 years or 90 years, doesn't mean that he is healthy. So health of age old people is very important to ensure their dignity as well as ensuring their liberty. Therefore, we need this type of approaches, changes in our health policy to make the system more inclusive. So another major issue is that most of the data that we are using for our present health related approach is based on the studies on western populations, and this can lead to diagnostic mismatches. For example, like I mentioned in the beginning, certain infections are high in the western world. For example, intestine based cancers, certain lifestyle diseases are high in the western population because of the different lifestyle. For example, if you take the blood, for example, you can see that the tribal population, especially the tribal population in the Congo basin, Amazon basin, and the tribal population living inside, deep inside the forest, they may have the cells, their blood cells may be in the sickle shape. This will give them immunity towards against malaria and other infections. Therefore, it is a high time we need this type of changes in our approaches towards the health. And the next is the ineffective treatments for Indian and the global south populations. So for example, if you take, because of any past condition, the CPR, that is the CRP, that is C reactive protein, which is a protein released by the liver to fight the problem of inflammation. And in the Indian population, this protein level is very high, and because of this reason, you can see that the inflammation diagnostics are mostly not done properly in India. And the next is the integration of technology. So we can see that to conduct the study, the Indian Institute of Science, they are using the artificial intelligence and machine learning, and this will process and stimulate the age-related intervention strategies, and also helps in early detection of any functional decline. For example, if you take the chronological age of a person, he will be 60, but because of his lifestyle, the liver of this person, just imagine that this person was an alcoholic. Because of the regular consumption of alcohol, his liver may be at the age of 90. So, to identify the early failure, the functional failure of organs, we need the intervention of technologies like artificial learning and machine learning. And it will provide high dimensional biological data analysis for early prediction and prevention of diseases. Coming to the government initiatives related to aging and research, first we have the National Program for Healthcare of Elderly Population. It is focusing on geriatric care and early intervention. And the next we have the Ayushman Bharat, the health and wellness centers. So this is focusing on screening and outreach programs to make the initiatives more health related initiatives more inclusive. And for example, if the studies this Bharat or these type of studies will help to build more accurate and more accurate data, and this will make this type of interventions more effective. And the next is the Adal Vayo Abhyud Yojana, which is focusing on community-based healthcare. And the next we have the India Genome Project, which is focused on collecting 10,000 genetic data from various population in India, because we can see that India is a vast nation and we have diverse population, which is influenced by various type of food habit, influenced by various type of occupation, influenced by various type of climate. Therefore, collecting the genetic data of various population is very important to build precision and accurate health approach. And the next we have the Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, which is focusing on digital health record integration. So this the data from the Bharat study can be integrated with this digital mission for effective implementation and action. And the next is the longitudinal aging study of India. So this is a study conducted by the International Institute for Population Science, and they are focused on collecting the socioeconomic and health data on the Indian aging population. And what are the challenges associated with the Bharat study, or what are the challenges we have related to the to the aging and old and aging population in India? First is the vast diversity. We can see that, like I mentioned, the India is a vast nation, and the different population across the country is influenced by various type of occupation, various type of food habit, various type of climate, and various type of socio-economic conditions. So this will, the collecting the diverse data is very difficult. And the next is sampling. That means difficulty in obtaining the health samples from all regions, because we can see that the different population are living, sometimes they may be living in the mainstream of the society, sometimes they may be living in the remote side of the society. Therefore, obtaining the sample data from all the regions, every nook and corner of the country, is another major challenge. And the next is funding. That is long term, ensuring long term support for the Bharat like initiatives is uncertain. And the next is the AI bias. For example, we cannot say that sometimes the result or the studies done by the artificial intelligence may be biased. If then AI data is not representative, then it can worsen the condition. And the next is the health system. That means needs readiness to adopt clinical applications. For example, if the Bharat like studies are bringing new changes, then we have to integrate the new changes with the existing health system. That itself is time consuming, and that is also a challenge. And what will be the impact? For example, what is the impact of the studies like Bharat? First is this scientific. That means India can build our own parameters. We don't have to depend on the parameters based on the Western population. And the next is healthcare. We can go for more accurate diagnosis and treatment. For example, like I mentioned, because of the high level of CRP, that is C-reactive protein, the inflammation diagnosis in India are often going underdiagnosed. Okay, so we can address these type of issues. And the next is equity. That is better representation of the global south in the world because of because of the geriatric care. And the next is the public health. So we can emphasizing the prevention over the cure. For example, like I mentioned, we can through early detection, we can through early diagnosis, we can prevent many health related conditions. And the next is the integration of the technology into the public health research. So this is another milestone step towards making the health sector and the health approach related to the health more inclusive. And here you can see that the better representation of global south, because we can attract other global south nations. We can be a role model for other global south nations in the field of geriatric care and the health sector. So what can be done? So how we can make the initiative more effective? First is inclusive data. That means data collection, ensuring the data connection from all groups and regions across the country. And the next is ethical use of AI for fair and explainability. And the next is capacity building. That means providing training for the health sector or the health workers related to genomics and AI skills. And the next is policy integration with the national health programs. Like I mentioned, Ayushman Bharat. We have then we have the Adal Vayo Abhyudayan Yojana. So these type of programs are there. We can integrate the data to these type of programs to make the implementation of the programs more effective. And the next is Global South collaboration for aging indices. For example, we can collaborate with the nations like Brazil, or we can collaborate with the nations in Africa to study the health condition of people in the tropical region. So these type of initiatives we can take in the coming days. So coming to the mains practice question, the question is, while Western nations focus on longevity, India must focus on healthy longevity, a convergence of genomic science, environmental health, and equitable care. Comment. So it's a 15 marks question, and you have to write around 250 words. Write the answer and post it in the comment section. We will review and we will reply for your answer. Now it's time to move to the next topic. Mizoram is India's first fully literate state. What happens when policy, people, and purpose align? The article is taken from Indian Express. So recently, the Mizoram became the first fully literate state in India, and this is showing how the when people, policy, and the purpose, when they are in agreement, how it can lead to success. And you can see that the major initiative that helped the Mizoram to attain this full literacy is the Ullas initiative by the government of India. So it is also known as New Education Program. The full form is Understanding Lifelong Learning for All in the Society. So through this program, the government of India is, it is a centrally sponsored scheme. So not that it is a centrally sponsored scheme. So through this program, the government is planning, is aiming to provide basic literacy, basic numeracy, and also teaching critical life skill to everyone in the society. So through this initiative, the state of Mizoram became the first fully literate state in the India. So let us discuss more about this news article. So why it is in the news? Because recently Mizoram became the fully literate state under the Ullas program, and currently the literacy rate, according to the periodical labor survey force of 2023-24, it is 98.2 percentage, which is highest in the country, and this is reflecting how the success can be, harvested when the policy, people, and the purpose are in agreement. And coming to the key features of the Mizoram model, the first major feature is the community participation. That means the selfless participation of community for the social development. And the next is the policy integration. That means implementing the localized policies through respecting the cultural and the language diversity in the state of Mizoram. We can see that the Mizoram, not only the Mizoram, the northeastern states are inhabited by various tribal population, various populations. So, respecting each other's cultural diversity, language diversity is very important, and Mizoram has become successfully implemented the localized. They successfully implemented the localized policies through respecting the culture diversity. And the next is balanced growth. You can see that they not only improved the literacy of the state, they even reduced the rural-urban literacy divide. So you can see that the rural literacy is standing at a 98.1 percentage, while the urban literacy is at 98.3 percentage. There is no much gap or divide. So coming to the gender inclusive development in the state of Mizoram, Mizoram is among the top 3 states in the term of high female workforce participation, and the sex ratio at the birth of the state of Mizoram is standing at 975, which is higher comparing with the national average of 929. And you can see that in the recent times, they also made improvement in the terms of high enrollment in the school, especially the female enrollment in the school is increasing these days. And you can see that the Mizoram also successfully reduced the infant mortality rate, and currently they have the lowest infant mortality rate in the northeastern part of country. So you can see that their infant mortality rate is standing at 3 out of 1,000. So you can see it is the lowest among the northeastern states. And high enrollment, like I mentioned, they are recording high enrollment in the primary and the secondary schools. And coming to the significance of the model, so first, the Mizoram is a role model for better, human-centric, inclusive growth and inclusion. And the next is it is demonstrating, a great success without much resource or urbanization. You can see that if you take 4 places in Mizoram, out of the 4 places, only 1 will be an urban area. So remaining 3 places will be rural area or a remote area. But still, they managed to become the fully literate state with this, with less resource and without much urbanization. And they also successfully protected the dignity of the marginalized communities. You can see that while implementing the policies, while bringing the education, while taking the initiatives, they still respected the cultural diversity within the state. They respected the language of various communities. They respected that the certain communities, they may not even have script, but still they managed to become the fully literate state. And the next is policy inventions, that is focusing on decentralized and community engagement approach. You can see that the community's participation, that is one of the primary feature of the Mizoram initiative. And the next is strengthening local institutions and volunteerism. Like I mentioned, here also, the implementation of localized policies and the community-based initiatives. And this can be adopted by the large states without much diversity for attaining greater literacy rate. And coming to the conclusion, like I mentioned, Mizoram's literacy success is a model for inclusive development, not only for India, maybe for across the world. And you can see that it reinforces the idea that the political will and the cultural respect drive progress. So you can see that even with that much diversity, they managed to become the fully literate state. And it's a critical lesson for Vikasit Bharat 2047 vision of inclusive nation building. We can see that currently we are in 2025, right? Within another 22 years, we are planning to attain the Vikasit Bharat 2047. And for this, we need a constant GDP growth of at least 8%. But the GDP growth is not, GDP growth alone is not sufficient. For this, we need social development also. So to accelerate our initiatives, we can adopt the Mizoram model as a role model to increase the social development, enhance the social development of the nation. So coming to the mains practice question, the question is Mizoram's literacy achievement is a model of inclusive development rooted in community participation. Discuss its significance for national development and lessons for other Indian states. So it's a 15 marks question and you have to write around 250 words, write the answer and post it in the comment section. We will review and we will reply for your answer. With this, we are coming to the conclusion for today's current affair analysis. If you like the video, hit the like button, give your feedbacks as comments and share this content with your friends. And before leaving this channel, don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell icon to receive on-time update from Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for listening to me. Have a nice day.